Hi, Patrick. Thanks for joining the virtual cabaret interview. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, really quick.
Well, I am the 5 through 12 band director at Beardstown Middle School and High School. I just finished my 13th year there. Um, and that's been my one and only music education job is here in Beardstown.
Awesome. So, I know that you've been involved in quite a few different capacities through the Beerstown Opera House summer productions. So, can you just give us a little insight on what you have done in those shows?
Yeah. So, in terms of acting, I guess had my debut in Legally Blonde, the musical, 2 summers ago. I played a couple random parts, the father and an admissions counselor and stuff, and I liked it so much that I tried out again the next year. And in Beauty and the Beast, I was somehow able to pull a French accent out of nowhere in the auditions. So I ended up being Lumiere, which was absolutely one of the best roles and experiences of my life. It was so much fun. Fantastic cast. It was a great time last summer. Um, Off the stage for, I guess, those last 2 shows too, I'm not sure my exact title, but I've been called the music coordinator, music helper, music splicer. I take um, all the background music that you hear in a show, whether that be just instrumental or that be something that is accompanying the actors on stage,
Mhm.
and I fit it into the dialogue and the timing and the correct key and everything for the performers to make the show seem seamless all the way through. As an example, Beauty and the Beast, when we initially tried to find tracks that for the show, there were a number of them, the big numbers in the show, like Belle and Be Our Guest and Gaston. Those all had really nice, wonderful sound orchestrations that you could get on the internet for a pretty low price to use during the show.
Right.
But others that are not as well known from the show were a little more difficult and not necessarily exactly what we wanted to have in the show.
Right.
So I spent quite a bit of time last summer, just about every morning, listening to different backing tracks, reading the dialogue out loud during it, and seeing if the timing matched up. Also working on scene change music. You don't think about, but every time a scene changes, there was music in the shows to kind of give the audience something to listen to while the performers switch sets and move things on and off and all of
Right.
that. So those are my responsibilities. I love it. It's fun.
That sounds like a pretty intense job, especially having in last summer's production, being able to be a performer and be the music technician behind all of this must have been a pretty stressful job. So, what is it like working with the casts and the crews of these shows in the two different ways that you have now experienced the show? What are some similarities? What are some differences? How is it like to work with the directors and stuff like that?
So, so last summer, when I wasn't on stage, I would just be kind of taking notes and listening to everybody else. And if one of the directors commented about how we needed more music somewhere or less music somewhere or cut something out or add something, I would take notes in this big notebook that I had or write it in the music score. And then the next morning I would sit down and figure it out, time it out, and then add it to the new playlist, try it at the next rehearsal. If it was better, wonderful, let's go on. If it was not, let's go try again and see if it can be better. That was my experience with that, which it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just very tedious and time consuming because if you know about music, you're sitting there and looking at a screen and checking like quarters of beats to figure out exactly where to splice out something so it sounds good to the audience. So it just takes a lot of time. I like doing it, but it's a really time consuming thing. And oh, the other part, the actual being on stage part. Um, this was the biggest, last summer was the biggest role I played in a show. So when I wasn't listening to the music and I was on stage, it was a little bit taxing, I guess, to like be doing lines and singing and thinking about, oh, I need to go back and change this scene, change music all at the same time. But I'm a teacher, I'm a multitasker. I normally could handle it pretty well. I think the best part about being on stage is just being with all the other actors and actresses. Like
Right.
when you're off stage, commenting on about what could be better, what we could change, quickly and quietly practicing lines backstage before we went on. Those type of things were fun.
The
So,
normal things you do backstage, right?
yep, the stuff the audience doesn't see that makes the show seamless.
Right. And there's a lot of that in shows
Yes.
that have that capacity too. So, what do you love most about the summer productions that we put on? And I would also ask, what are the largest obstacles you face in these productions as well?
What I love the most is that it gets the community and kids and adults of all ages. We're talking like last summer had, you know, second, third, fourth graders, all the way up to like, retired people that were in the show. And just that giant range of people all on one stage is pretty cool that we're all doing that together to make a production. I like that it involves people. I like that in a community that's relatively small, that we can put on a quality event that the kids and teenagers and adults and college students all want to be a part of. I think that's fantastic, and I hope that it continues. Um, what was the second part of that question? Sorry.
Uh, what are some of the largest obstacles you face in productions like that as well?
Oh, I guess the largest obstacles, it's sometimes getting um, enough people like to do the parts that you need for the show. Like, um, I feel like last summer was there was plenty of people for that, but in years past, there's been times where um, people who have been directors for the show have kind of struggled with getting enough people to come out. So we always love to have you audition in the future when it happens. The more the merrier. I think is a struggle with that. I think we're very blessed in Beardstown to have a fantastic facility that, I mean, can put on a huge show like Beauty and the Beast without a problem. I don't think that's a negative. That's a positive thing that we have. Other theaters don't have the luxury that we have of an air-conditioned, huge theater to put on shows in.
Right.
I think maybe just something that the community might not know is just how many like pieces and people you have to pull from to get the show on the stage. The costume person, the sound person, the music person, the vocal person, the acting director, all of that has to be like this, at one time. And that's a lot of people with a lot of, thoughts and everything going into it. So I think that's a challenge if people don't work together with that to make it happen. That can be a challenge, but at any theater that could happen.
Right. Well, thanks, Skip, for giving a little bit of insight on what it's like to be you backstage and on stage.
Hmm.
But before I let you go, I was just wondering if there's anything else you would like to say to the people that are going to be watching this.
I would say thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the Beardstown Opera House and continuing to watch performers during this time when we can't be together on the stage. I would say that when this is done and we are able to go out and see shows again, please go support your favorite local theater in Illinois, especially the Beardstown Opera House, but anywhere around here, we're all in the same boat. Theater's taking a big hit from this because obviously they rely on audiences and the money that comes in with that. So if you would go support them in the future here when that happens, and if you can support the Beardstown Opera House through this event, that would be wonderful. Any little bit helps to keep us going with summer productions in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening to Patrick Steadman talk, and we will now move on to our next performer.
Thanks, you. Bye.